Trinity! Okay, so let's see. You need help with page 7, number 19. So number 19 says, graph the numbers on a number line, then decide which number is greater and use the less than or greater symbols to show the relationship. So 5/3 is going to be the same thing, negative 5/3, as -1 and 2/3, because you have 3 full thirds here, and then you have 2 extra. So we're comparing -1 and 3/3, which I'm just going to draw on a number line here. -1, -2, so it's about halfway, or a little bit more than halfway in between the 1 and the -2. So that's where that's going to be. And then when we have the negative square root of 3, so the square root of 3 is going to be in between the square root of 1 and the square root of 4. So if we have the square root of 1, that's going to be just plain old 1, right? And then the square root of 4 is equal to 2. So that means that the square root of 3, being in between those two numbers, is going to be, since it's negative, almost to, are they both negative? Oh, nope, it's positive. Ha ha ha. Erase my negative sign. So positive square root of 3 is going to be in between 1 and 2. So, and it's going to be closer to the 2 because the square root of 3 is closer to the square root of 4 than it is the square root of 1. So we have it like ish right there. I hope this isn't backwards. It might be. I'm not sure. Let me know. So if that's true, then that means, looking at paper, we can see that this right here, -5/3, is going to be all the way to the, I always have to look at my wedding ring to know which hand is the left. So it's going to be to the left, and then you have the square root of 3 to the right. So the square root of 3 is larger. So when we're writing that, we need to make sure, it doesn't matter which side, which symbol you use, as long as whatever symbol you're using, you put the numbers in the right place. So because the square root of 3 is bigger, it has to have the larger side of the inequality sign facing it. You can see the small sign right there that ends in a little tip. That's going to be next to the smaller number. So that's 19. And then you're going to do the same kind of thing with number 23. Let me know if you need more help with that one. And 27. So 27, you're also going to be graphing those on a numbered line. So just draw a number line and figure out the best place to put all those things. Convert them to mixed numbers if you need to. Remember that negative numbers are the same distance away from 0 as positive numbers. They're just on the other side of the 0. And then you said 31, same thing, and 67. So 67, aha. Okay, so 67 is a little complicated. So you have this first one saying that A plus the quantity A plus 2 is equal to the quantity A plus A and then plus 2. So looking at B, well, A, can we say that that left-hand side is equal to the right-hand side? Well, what is different? That's the first thing to look for. And you can see the difference is that in the first side, on the left, you have A out front just by itself, and then A plus 2 is in parentheses. And then when you look at the right side, you have the exact same terms there, A, and 2, but A plus A are in parentheses now, and the 2 is out by itself. So if we move the parentheses, but everything else is the same, and it's the same operation, that's just going to be the associative property. So that's what you would write for A. And then when you see, looking down at B, what's changed now on this right-hand side? Instead of having A plus A in the parentheses, now we have 1 times A plus 1 times A. So what says that A is the same thing as 1 times A? Well, that's the identity. That's the multiplicative identity. And then you look here at C, what's different? So looking from B to C, you can see that there was a 1 times A plus 1 times A, and now that's just become 1 plus 1, and then the whole thing times a. Well, you're probably not used to seeing it in this order, but this is actually the distributive property. So you can see if we took that a and we multiplied it back in that quantity, we would get 1 times a plus 1 times a. So we factored out a, and the distributive property is what lets us factor. So then looking at what has changed between C and D, we can see that the 1 plus 1 has been added and the parentheses were taken down, but we didn't multiply anything into the parentheses. So that's not the distributive property or the associative, even though there were parentheses and now there's not. But that has been simplified, but when you look at the 2, now the 2 became 2 times 1. So what property says that any number times 1 is itself? And then we look at E, and you have that we factored out that 2. So once again, when you factor out a number, what property is that? Okay, and then let's see. So that should be everything from pages 7 through 10. I'm leaning forward because this is where my phone is, where I have your email. So pages 14 through 17, problem 75. So 75. So that is the exact same thing as what we were doing on the last assignment in the first couple problems. So you just need to determine which one is bigger after you graph them. So just look back at that first problem that I helped you with, number 19, and see about where the square root of 3 is, about how much is it equal to, and then compare that to negative 3. Just graph those both on a number line, and then say which one is more to the right, and that's the bigger one. Okay, if you need any more help, just let me know immediately, and I will text you or video you or whatever. Okay, yeah, math! I thought I stopped it. Wait, how do I stop it?